Dear students, at the first segment of the lecture, we were talking about John Rawls' concept of justice. The basic idea was to offer justice as fairness by engaging us to a hypothetical situation known as the original position. From the original position, we are deciding on fundamental principles that are going to govern the way of society works. And we are going to come to some sort of agreement together liberatively, rationally, and by adapting the veil of ignorance. Carrying out this thought experiment, Rawls comes up with two basic principles, one concerned with liberty, the other with the just distribution of goods. The first principle guarantees each individual an equal right to the most extensive scheme of equal basic liberties. The second principle specifies that social and economic inequalities must bring benefits to everyone. Let's talk briefly on each principle on the next slides. Liberty principle states that each person is to have an equal right to the most extensive total system of equal basic liberties compatible with a similar system of liberty for all. In other words, choosing behind a veil of ignorance, a rational person would want everyone in the society to have the same right to basic liberties as anyone else. Otherwise, that person might end up a victim of discrimination. For example, political liberty, right to vote, freedom of speech and assembly, liberty of conscience, freedom of thought and expression, safety and security, freedom from psychological oppression like harassment, bullying, assaults, and these are all basic freedoms that the state has to justify without curtailing any of it. As a rational libertarian philosopher, Rawls suggests that only when your action threatens others' liberties, the intervention of the state is justified. And as per the state's policy, one may not be attaining the same liberty like everyone else. So, at this regard, we can say that only a rational person can decide to what extent practicing freedom in a particular society would be a use or crossing the limit or boundaries and would be a misuse. For example, as a human being, we all have the right of expression. But if someone's expression barge into other person's basic liberty of the same society or state, then state has all the right to interfere to that freedom of expression. Sometimes we observe reservations of few people in the society in terms of ethnicity, religion, family, nationality, language, and so many other social dynamics. In this case, to practice our liberty, we must respect others' liberties as well. Rawls' second principle of justice as fairness is the just distribution of primary goods principle. Primary goods are the basic requirements for a reasonable life, such as food, shelter, education, health security, and any kind of opportunities and freedoms, as well as self-respect. The just distribution of primary goods consists of two principles: the fair equality of opportunity principle and the difference principle. fair equality of opportunity principle believes in policies that confirms equal arrangements for everybody, advantages for all, and opportunities open to everyone. It states that any social or economic inequalities associated with particular offices or jobs are open to everyone under conditions of fair equality of opportunity. For example, no one should be excluded from getting the best paid jobs, especially for non-relevant grounds such as sexual orientation or race or social status. For Rawls, equality of opportunity is more than mere anti-discrimination. The equality principle even takes the lexical priority over the other part of Rawls' second principle, which is the difference principle. Let's take a look on this image which portrays the very basic of equality principle. It has different kinds of animals participating a fair selection by taking the same exam, whereas the question is, please climb that tree. In this context, we can see that different animals have different kind of abilities and status. Some of them can easily fly, jump, or reach the tree anyway, but some of them will be still left, like penguin, the fish in the bowl, and the seal. So, we can observe that even if the examination process was equal for everybody, still it could not serve justice to all. Parallelly, in human society, even if we are all humans, still our needs, capabilities, and social status are not same. So, at this point, Rawls introduces the second half of the just distribution of primary goods principle. This is the difference principle. The difference principle, Rawls insists that any social or economic inequalities should only be tolerated on condition that they bring the greatest benefits to the most disadvantaged members of the society. This is an implementation of a strategy which is known as maximin. Broadly speaking, maximize the minimum, which means choose the option which gives the best deal for the worst case. On the projected picture here, we can see that when a state or society or institution is not naturally equal, we have to make policies that will provide benefits to everyone. So, we can presume that equality is just our basic rights to get, but when we need to provide justice to everybody, we have to make policies so that it brings advantage to all the people who are member of that particular society.